Good morning. It is May 11th. That's the second day of my 4-day, 4-night trip, and I have a problem. My pad is flat. I'm not quite sure what happened. I got up in the middle of the night, got back, and when I got back in the tent, it was a little low, so I filled it up, and it was flat again within about 15 or 20 minutes. So I filled it up again, and this time it's flat within seconds. So the first order of business is going to be to try to find the leak. And with the air coming out at that speed, I think it should be pretty easy to find. Fixing it's going to be another matter. I really don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it out here. I didn't bring a patch kit. So we'll see how that goes. The big problem, of course, is that it will be cold to sleep directly on the ground. It was cold to sleep directly on the ground. Fortunately, the air inside my sleeping bag was always warm. It's just that whichever side of me was down was pretty chilly. So here goes the search. Well, success, if you want to call it that. Got about an 1.25 inch long tear in this thing. So I don't have a plan right now, except to get up and get hiking. Maybe I'll think of something during the day. Well, last night was the night of broken stuff. It looks like I cracked the screen on my phone as well. I don't know if you can see that out, sort of crescent-shaped crack on the right side. Well, I guess when you share a sleeping bag with a phone, a power bank, and a water filter, things get a little crowded. A stream, I hope. Let's see if there's water. There's supposed to be a couple of water sources within a mile. No water here. A couple water sources within a mile of each other, and then an 8-mile gap followed by the little Manistee River, and after the little Manistee River, another 8-mile gap with no water. So I'm sure I'll get to these streams soon. A gorgeous young hemlock and a whole avenue of hemlock trees reaching into the distance. Well, this stream was not on my map, even though the two streams a couple miles back that were on my map were dry. So I'm going to see what I can get out of this. I was not planning to start the day with 11 dry miles, especially since I emptied all my water last night to make sure it didn't freeze. But it looks like I won't have to. First I'll get started on lunch. A liter of slightly tannin-colored water. I've got 1.5 liters now, so that should set me up well for another 8 miles. A visitor. She came bounding up the trail behind me. No, it's a he. A very young he. Right as I stopped for lunch, out he popped. And as you can see, he is on the trail. Never been so close to a deer before. And I'm talking to him, but he doesn't seem to be worried. Well, here comes some bikers. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No.
Hey, get away. Sorry. Well, I was crazy about the deer. As you could see, as you saw, it walked right up to me. I was coming for my hands, and even after I shouted at it, it stuck around. Two mountain bikers came up. Still, same story. Stayed there. I was worried because I wanted to eat lunch, and if I got my food bag out, I didn't want to have to be pushing him away all the time before he grabbed my oatmeal reserves or something. But finally, he lost interest in me and wandered off, and I don't think he's coming back. I don't see him anymore. So let's eat. The next water stop, right by the highway bridge that the trail uses to cross the river. Got a nice white juniper there, white cypress there, and lots of lily of the valley coming close to blooming, but not yet. Look who's back. I recognize the markings on him. I'm a good 5 miles from where I was before. I guess he must have followed the trail and the roads, for that matter, because I just had about a 400-meter road walk. And he seems a little skittish this time. Well, I hope he's heading on. Look who's following me. I hope he's gone by the time I make camp. He's still with me. Whenever I stop, he stops. Or sometimes he doesn't. What are you after? Don't think I'm going to feed you. I've only got barely enough for myself. Huh? You want to lead? Well, now you're going to think I'm chasing you. Coming through. You know, if you turned off the trail, I'd stop bothering you. Are you turning? You look like you're turning. I'll go around this side. Oh, right back to the trail. Yeah, I'm coming. Don't worry about me. I'm heading up into the Udell Hills, the Appalachians of Michigan. And guess who else is coming? Well, look at this. Hat off, sweater off, collar unbuttoned. It must be 50 degrees out here. I think we got somebody else back here enjoying the weather. It's my friend. I wonder what's up with him. I wonder if his mother just kicked him out and told him it was time to be on his own. I guess in deer years he's about the same age as my own kids, a young teenager. Maybe he's lonely. The Udell Hills is a part of Michigan I've been wanting to check out for a while. My friend again. They're not very high, but you can get a little bit of a view out here. If you can see through the trees, you can see some ridge in the distance. And there's a little bit of a drop down below me on both sides. I don't think these are sand dunes either, because the sand dunes all have gentle slopes on the west side and steep slopes on the east side, whereas this is opposite. Well, look at this. Never mind, it's locked. He doesn't seem discouraged about it though. I stopped to send a message home, and look who else stopped. We've been together 10 miles, this little guy and I. Well, here's the next water source. What's the best place to access it? I reckon he'll be coming with me. I am cautiously optimistic that I may have ditched my deer. He was with me for a solid 11 miles, about 11 and a half miles. I think he was thirsty when I went back to get water. He didn't drink when I was getting water, but after I got my pack loaded up, he went up the road a little bit and then detoured to the other side of the road to get some water. A truck came by, which may have scared him a little bit, and then I legged it. Still no sign of him. Well, campsite for only for those hiking the North Country Trail and arriving on foot. Sounds nice. I wish that I were ready to stop. Let's see about this. Now this looks fantastic. Periwinkle, daffodils, lily of the valley, a privy, firewood, a fireplace, some water, a cabin. And a nice drop off down to the creek in the distance down there. Not forgetting the prepared bear hang. Well, this is at mile 806.5 in case you're interested. Pretty nice place. Well, dinner time in the sun, wearing my warmer kit again. I'm sitting right on the edge of a pretty good declivity down into the Manistee River valley. Looks like I'll follow it for about a mile, then cross it, and then continue to follow it for most of the rest of the hike. Well, time to eat. Well, this is pretty amazing. I'm still walking along the steep edge above the Manistee River. And just a little ways down, there are all these springs. You can see all the moss and grasses and things. Tons of springs, water welling right out from under me to feed all that vegetation. And of course, we've got more of these white juniper and my favorite, hemlocks. Nice view across the Manistee River. out to the opposite slope that is like this one here. You can't actually see the Manistee River from this exact end. Well, okay, I barely can. The small creek is not the Manistee River. If you look carefully further back, you might be able to see it. I can. What a trillium. Huge and gorgeous one. Second one back there. The Manistee River is definitely the biggest river I've seen so far on this trip. Some small rapids even. Oh yeah. Best view I have seen in the state of Michigan. Gorgeous. And in the distance, low to the horizon, the Udell Hills. Here's home for the evening. Alright, so here's what I've got set up. I got my pathetic pad on the bottom because maybe a flat pad is slightly warmer than no pad at all. Maybe. I've got my shirt all folded up to go under my hips because that's what gets coldest. Hopefully I've got it folded over multiple times, so 16 layers of wool hopefully will do something. And for my shoulders, I'm wearing a wool sweater with a wool shirt underneath it. Hopefully those will keep my shoulders warm, which after my hips, those are the next coldest thing, because they press the second hardest against the ground. So here's hoping. If it get too cold, maybe I'll try sleeping on my pack, though it doesn't have any kind of foam sheet in it, so I don't think it would do much. But at least I get to lie down for a bit. Speaking of which, it was, I did 27 miles today, bringing it to a total of 50, and 58 to go. So close to the halfway point. It's been a really good hike. And it's about the time of day that the kids are getting ready for bed. I usually do most of that. I wonder how Rebecca is doing. You know, one fun thing about getting away is that every little thing makes me think about Rebecca. And one thing right here where I have the setting sun and I'll see the rising sun in the morning, it sure reminds me of this place that Rebecca and I camped when the kids were younger in central Utah, and we could see both sunset and sunrise, and we would put the kids to bed and watch the sun fall behind the Henry Mountains and the last purple light fade off the snows on the La Salle Mountains on the opposite side of the camp. What a life. What a life. Thanks be to God. Look at that light.